Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called How Storm Chandra Made Its Way Through the UK. I would assume it's a snowstorm. Does the UK get storms that are not snowstorms? I do not know. I guess we're going to find out. So let's check it out and comment, like and subscribe.
Cars submerged and homes flooded.
Oh, okay.
This is Devon after being hammered by another storm.
Okay, so it's not a snowstorm.
In Axminster, this van and its driver had to be rescued.
Oh my god, there was someone in there.
Oh, look at me, I'm shaking. Because I thought I was going to break down, halfway through that. There's about 100 yards of just pure deep water.
It's crazy, of course.
This was the River Otter, which reached its highest level ever recorded.
Oh, is that a bridge?
And villages, including Tipton St John, saw schools closed and houses flooded.
So I've not lived here that long, so to see it actually flood like this and to hear the neighbours say that this is the worst it's ever flooded. They've seen it flood before, they've seen the cars get stranded, but to see the school under
What a poor welcoming for the guy that just moved here.
water and to see so many cars affected, it's just such a shame to see the dismay on their faces.
It was like flooded up to where we are stood now, and it was just like all the water was rushing down the roads and all the farms being flooded and stuff like that.
It was a bit scary because I haven't ever seen the flood this big, and it was just a bit weird.
Scary.
This was the nearby village of Ottery St Mary, where strong winds also brought this tree down. Thankfully, no one was injured.
Yeah, of course it's raining. It's wind.
In neighbouring Somerset, flooding also closed roads. On this street in Taunton, residents were woken at 5 o'clock this morning to water gushing into their homes.
Oh my god, in your house?
My house is completely flooded, all ground floor. Everything is completely damaged. Kitchen, ground floor, all floor, to be honest. I feel terrible because I try cleaning everything. I really try. I can't do anything because water coming from underneath the house.
Yeah, you can't.
In Cornwall, the sandbags were down, but it did little to protect this street in Helston.
Yeah.
I'm alright at the minute because my house hasn't flooded yet.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously the neighbours is flooding and mine's probably another 50 mil away and it's still rising and just no one's come to help.
Oh, okay.
This is the third major storm to hit the UK so far this year, and many fear it won't be the last.
Oh no.
Lena Hayes, ITV News.
Let's get the latest picture now from Jordan Moore in Belfast and Karen Bell in Somerset. Turning to you, Karen, first.
Yeah, Mary, as we've just been hearing, it's been a rotten day for so many residents in the southwest of England, flooding in Cornwall through to Devon, up to where I am in Somerset. And we've still got a danger to life flood warning in place for the Upper Froom River near Dorchester. I am on the Somerset Levels. Now, if you're not familiar with them, it's basically like a miniature Netherlands, extremely flat with large canal-like draining channels running through them. Behind me is a pumping station, one of several, whose job it is to pump the water out of the channels and into the nearby river. And you can see staff from the Environment Agency are working through the hours of darkness now to increase the capacity of this pumping station. This region was devastated by floods in 2014. This time of year in particular, it is totally reliant on mechanisms like this to stay dry-ish. So for residents here, what's going on now is probably deeply unsettling. It shows just how vulnerable the Somerset Levels are, particularly because more rain is forecast this week.
It's going to be so traumatic.
I think it's safe to say it's not been quite as bad in Northern Ireland, but it's still been a very wet and a very windy day. How wet and how windy? Well, in Catesbridge in County Down, it recorded its wettest ever day with almost 10 centimetres of rain falling in a 24-hour period. And as you've heard, there have been gusts on the east coast of Northern Ireland of up to 81 miles an hour. That's caused widespread disruption, with the M1, one of the busiest roads in and out of Belfast in Northern Ireland, being closed for a time earlier today. It has since, however, reopened, but that was due to a lot of flooding, which caused a lot of disruption on the roads this morning.
Oh my God, how
fallen
could the
trees
cars
and localised flooding
go
has
home?
caused delays, with one woman being taken to hospital in Fermanagh after a tree fell in her car. There were a number of ferry services to Scotland from Belfast and Larne that were cancelled today, and Belfast City Airport had no flights flying up until 2 p.m, and 300 schools were closed across Northern Ireland. But I think it's important to say that, like that motorway being reopened, ferry services are due to resume later. There's also been a resumption of those flights at Belfast City Airport, and debris is starting to be cleared as the storm seems to pass. But it's important to note we're not out of the woods just yet. 10,000 people this morning were left without power across Northern Ireland. That was about 4,000 by lunchtime. However, there will still be people tonight who are going home without any power in their homes. There is still a yellow weather warning in place for snow, or for wind and for rain up until midnight tonight, and there is an ice warning in place from 3 a.m. to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Okay, it's bad
The
times.
sheer power of Storm Chandra was felt along the coast overnight.
Hopefully no one was inside that boat.
Waves slammed ashore, turning the sea into a dangerous and destructive
Someone's recording
force.
this, so there's someone here.
By the time the morning commute began, many roads had turned into rivers.
I do not get how people are still going to their offices. There's no what? Stay at home.
This was the M1.
This is crazy. No.
In County Fermanagh, a woman was taken to hospital after a tree fell on her car in Lisbon. Her injuries are not believed to be serious.
Yeah, except for the mental thing. Because obviously
This is a stark reminder of just how treacherous driving became under the amber weather warning.
Correct. That's what I would advise
Strong
against going
gusts
out.
led to thousands of homes and businesses without electricity. At the storm's peak, 10,000 power cuts were recorded by NIE at 9 o'clock this morning.
I have to say though, this was very pretty, that road, with the fogginess. I mean, awful, but it was
This bridge
pretty.
in Rosstrevor in County Down collapsed after being overwhelmed by severe conditions.
Oh my God.
But the storm's impact didn't stop there. Nearly 300 schools and parks across Northern Ireland were closed. Transport was brought to a standstill. Ferries stayed docked.
Yeah. I don't think you should go out to sea.
All
in this
flights from
condition.
Belfast City Airport were cancelled, with Belfast's International Airport also warning of significant delays this morning.
Yeah, oh my God, the tree fell.
Storm Chandra has left more than a mess behind. Bin collections were hit today. Belfast City Council has warned of further disruption this week.
What are they doing?
The focus now shifts to a major clean-up operation over the next few days.
Yeah, of course you got to
A
do the cleanup.
multi-agency
but no, what's
response
happening?
to Storm Chandra will continue this evening. People are being urged to take extra care, especially travelling on flooded roads.
Do not travel.
UTV Live.
Emergency services again stand ready to evacuate homes in Monmouth.
Oh, they had to
Storm Chandra
evacuate?
has seen roads closed as the River Monnow bursts its banks. It comes just 2 months after Storm Claudia
Oh my
left her
God.
mark on the town,
2
devastating
months?
homes and businesses in the worst flooding for 40 years.
Okay, so
Hart's
one after
clothes
the
shop
other.
only opened following those floods last Friday. Sean Cursor
close
and her
again.
colleagues spent last night lying awake and listening to the rain. They were hoping they weren't going to see a repeat of last November.
After watching the weather forecast last night, we were all worried. Carrie, who's the owner of the shop, she couldn't get in this morning because of the water. So fingers crossed, nothing else is going to happen today.
Yeah,
A
hopefully.
few doors down, the shoes and accessory shop lies empty. The carpets still lie in ruins. It
Disaster.
won't be open for another 9 months at least.
9
but owner
months?
Yvonne Perry says she worries about the local people who are still
my
out of their
God.
homes tonight.
There are people in this town that had to be evacuated and are in hotel rooms. And these are elderly people.
And that's still the case.
Yeah, of course, because it's a store and it's awful. But of course, we have to think of the people. Homes are more, like, I think, are in the scale. Of course, is more important to lose your home.
Yes, I saw one at the supermarket just recently, and all I could do is hug her.
That's so sad.
So, oh dear.
Oh no.
It's been challenging for
me
Monmouth,
cry.
hasn't it?
I feel for others,
Yeah.
not me.
This evening, the river levels are still going up as water continues to speed downstream.
Well, you can see the gate there behind me and the water gushing through from the River Monnow. Now, just to give you some idea, less than 2 hours ago, that water was only trickling through. It was nowhere near here. But as you can see now, I cannot get anywhere near that road because of how deep it is. And it is continuing to rise.
Oh my God.
Monmouth has seen flooding in the past, but some say that it's becoming more frequent.
It used to be sort of like a 1 in 5 year event. Now it's every year, and sometimes it's twice a year. Not down the bottom of town. That seems to have been hopefully a one-off, but you never know with global warming what the impact's going to be. So as I say, we've really got to get on top of why we're seeing these extreme weather events and what we can do to be more resilient.
Upstream at Llangia, these have been the scenes on the A465 today. It's barely been passable in places. The River Monnow has swallowed up farmland and left a local church an island. Tonight, residents in Monmouth are hoping they've been spared this time, but there are still a few anxious hours ahead. Hannah Thomas, ITV News.
Yeah, you're hopefully
Before 7 o'clock this morning, the police put out a warning saying to people, do not go out on the roads unless it is absolutely urgent that you do so. The roads were completely impassable in so many areas around Exeter, Mid Devon and East Devon. I want to show you these aerial pictures that we've got of the area around Waycroft Bridge, just the other side of Axminster from where I am now. Several vehicles stuck in the water there, up to their windscreens or even higher. Some of them that have been swept off the road. They've only just been recovered here this evening. The fire service told us earlier that they'd had to rescue people from at least 25 vehicles during the day. So it's just been so hard getting around. I've been speaking to some motorists around the area today who've just been finding it really difficult to get from A to B and actually quite scary out on the roads.
Oh, look at me, I'm shaking because I thought I was going to break down, halfway through that. There's about 100 yards of just pure deep water.
I tried to come down earlier because I was going to work in town in Axminster, and there was a car stuck maybe just over that little bridge bit, and there was another 4x4 dragging it out, so we turned around then.
We thought we were going to be stuck there, phoning the AA, missing the train.
Turn around.
Squeaked through, but I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else.
You can sort of feel the weight of the water pushing you really, but obviously I've got a snorkel, so I can sort of go a bit deeper, because obviously it sort of sucks air from there rather than under the engine.
Cars driving in it. Why are they driving it? I don't know. I'd advise anyone, don't do it.
I'm with him. I'm with that guy.
When you're in the middle of it and you can't go back, you just keep going forward and you think this is going to stop any minute.
Yeah, I'm with that guy.
Gentlemen, is don't do it.
Exactly, correct. I'm with him.
Homes have been flooded too. I was speaking to somebody in Axminster who lives right by the river who described the water was coming up through the floor. They actually had to open the doors of the house to let the water out. They knew it was coming, of course. They'd seen the warnings about this storm that was coming in, but there's just nothing they could do about it.
Yeah, one thing is knowing and the other is
whenever
experiencing
you hear about
it.
these storms now, you're always thinking, okay, sofas up on chairs, everything out of cupboards, things like that. Like, we had pumps, we were sweeping things out, and at one point I was like, look, there's just nothing we can do at this point because it's metric tons of water coming in, and you're there with just a broom and a pump.
Nothing you can do.
You feel like you're not able to do much against it, really. It's the power of nature.
It's awful.
Thankfully, the river levels have started to fall. The floodwater is beginning to recede. But behind me, the fields between the River Axe and the River Yardley here, just outside Axminster, it's a sea out there. There's so much water, so much mess still to clear up, abandoned vehicles still to recover. There's a lot of work still to do.
Yeah.
Day of mopping up at Tipton St John's garage. Staff had already spent up until midnight last night preparing for the worst, moving vehicles out and placing equipment up on the ramps.
Oh my
to be back at just after 2 this morning when the Environment Agency flood warning came through.
It's quite heart-wrenching, really.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do suffer from it. You never get used to it. At 3 o'clock in the morning when you're up to your waist in water, it's not a very nice place to be. The guys are all pulling together, and hopefully sort of 48 hours we should be back up and running again.
Well, that's
Tipton
good.
St John is a village that has become used to flooding, but each time it's different. Last occasion in 2022 saw homes in the centre flooded out. But today they were saved, but only by an inch.
The top of the steps clear, so it did come up very quickly when we were up at 6. It was about a foot or so higher than it is at the moment, which was lovely. So we've had some nice wading, tortoise rescuing in action, one ginger cat that is determined to be outside but has chosen not to be so far. Not waiting it to happen. Tripping electrics. Sadly, one freezer and one washing machine probably lost, and no heating this morning.
Cara believes a flood defence bank built behind their homes may have saved them this time.
Wow.
The River Otter burst its banks earlier this morning, and yet again, Tipton St John's Primary School was surrounded by floodwater. It was just one of dozens of schools that had closed today around East and Mid Devon.
The kids are happy, but it's quite sad. It's happens quite frequently.
Those are the worrying ones.
Really.
We came down here in a farm vehicle, and it was like flooded up to where we are stood now, and it was just like all the water was rushing down the roads and all the farms being flooded and stuff like that.
It was a bit scary because I haven't ever seen the flood this big.
Were they on their bikes?
It's just a bit weird.
Motorists who'd ventured round the corner here found themselves stuck.
We're told the river level has actually dropped significantly.
Oh my God,
the drivers of all these cars had to be rescued by the fire service earlier this morning, and that's really been one of their main jobs throughout today.
Well, these are
no journey was easy today, not just because of the rain, but between here and Ottery St Mary, a giant tree had fallen, narrowly missing a cottage.
Yeah, at least it didn't fall in the
team
house.
were called to help evacuate a family too in Newton Poppleford, but thankfully no one has been hurt. Flood defences had largely protected nearby Ottery St Mary, but only just, while the River Otter's floodplains were tested to the limit, and residents are wondering if any more measures are needed. Richard Lawrence, ITV News.
Today's named storm, Chandra, brought exactly what the residents of Stithians dread. Heavy rain here means raw sewage pours up out of the drains onto the streets, and this time flooded into homes.
Obviously you get raw sewage sitting on the top. There's lots of incidents where cars are going past and splashing it on people walking past. There's children and everything like that. So there's quite a health issue going on, like, health and safety as well, obviously. But I think everyone's just annoyed that South West Water really are ignoring everyone.
The area's local MP, Perrin Moon, says this issue's been going on for far too long and a resolution is now needed.
But they're pulling together, they're helping each other, they're putting out sandbags to prevent sewage water coming into homes. They're being very careful about how they drive through the village, so they're not splashing this disgusting water everywhere. That community is pulling together. That community is doing its bit. Now it's up to South West Water to do their bit to make sure these changes are made.
In a statement, South West Water said, "We have teams on the ground supporting customers. We're using tankers to remove flows where possible. We are urgently working on a long-term solution here."
It has to change.
In Helston, residents of St John's Road woke to rising floodwater.
We're just watching everything flood, so I work for a building firm that's got access to tool hire and stuff, so we've had to do something to try and to stop it.
Oh my God.
We've just got a puddle pump basically going into the river over the back of the house, but it's not really doing much, but it's better than standing here.
It's better than nothing.
Flood.
Cornwall Council said their work's limited by the current swollen river levels of the Cobar.
Unfortunately, there is little that can be done until the river levels do subside. We're having that same situation in other locations within Cornwall as well. One or two roads, Bizzo Valley Road, for example, same kind of situation where the river levels are so high that the drainage is unable to function until the river subsides.
Storm Chandra's delivered lashing rain, heavy seas and dangerous gusts of wind across Cornwall. All of it to a county still trying to recover from the last named storms. Grace Pascoe, ITV News.
And it's going to be a busy night as well. I think that is the Environment Agency hard at work with a crane. They are bringing in extra pipes, extra pumping capacity, because it is the performance of the Northmoor pumping station which will determine whether or not the Somerset levels can avoid a repeat of those devastating floods of 2014. But as you say, for a lot of residents in Somerset, it's already too late. They've had a rotten day. They woke up to floodwater in their houses, as Richard Payne now reports.
my God.
Not yet a day old, but already the people of Somerset are feeling the effects of Storm Chandra. Residents of Severn Drive in Taunton woke to water flooding their homes and destroying their possessions.
Everything is completely damaged. Kitchen, ground floor, all floor, to be honest. I need to come out, need to be take out everything. You go straight to the bin. I need to dry up, which is taking me probably a week. But the problem is, on Thursday is coming more rain. I feel terrible.
You have to wait for it.
I try cleaning everything.
You have to wait for
really
the sun to come out
because water coming from underneath the house.
Today has been one of salvaging what they could, while questioning whether this was down to Mother Nature or human error.
Oh, really?
The council are coming in for criticism over claims they failed to clear drains in the nearby village of Rooston, where a large lake has made the centre impassable to all but the boldest drivers in the biggest vehicles. They've had it worse than this before, but are looking on anxiously as the rising water levels creep ever closer to their front doors. 81-year-old Pam only moved in a year ago, may have to move out when the rains return.
Awful, really terrible. The rain, well, it's just coming down. Just hope for the best that it don't get any higher.
Elsewhere, journeys were aborted no matter how careful the driver. This, the main A358, close to the M5.
Yeah, it's just impossible.
It's not only people and property taking a hit, but agriculture too. Farmer Rob Case has had to write off months of work after floodwater consumed his crops overnight.
The worst of it was in 2014 when it was really bad. I would consider it's maybe not quite as bad as that, but it's nearly there. And if we have any more rain tonight, I would have said that it's going to get as bad as that, if not worse.
They're taking as many precautions as possible with floodgates and bags to hold back or at least resist the worst of the water. But few in Somerset, you feel, will get a good night's sleep tonight while they wait anxiously for what the next few hours and days will bring.
Absolutely, you're not
Richard Payne,
clear
ITV
yet.
News, Taunton.
Oh, I'm sure we all feel for everyone who's affected. Karen, what's the council said about these floods?
Well, I spoke to the leader of Somerset Council a little earlier, Alex, and his message was basically call the council. If you've got floodwater in your house, call Somerset Council. They might be able to help you get that water out. They might be able to help you with your insurance claim and also with finding alternative accommodation. You heard in Richard's report there some criticism about drain clearing or lack thereof. Well, I put that to the leader of the council and just have a listen to his response.
We don't do the proactive drain clearance that we would like to do, but we do reactive drain clearance. So if things are reported, please report stuff on our website. We will get the teams out to inspect and make sure it's done. Proactive. The position of local councils all across the country is they're not able to do the proactive clearance that we would love to do.
Because of money?
It is the ongoing tight financial situation in councils all over the country that makes that happen.
It's a bigger problem,
quite a stark warning there, isn't it? They just can't afford to clear the drains properly. Sort of very frustrating words for Somerset residents who've got flood water in their houses. And of course the worry continues because more rain is forecast the rest of this week.
Oh my God, more rain, more water. Make it stop. Wow, okay, so this was awful. There's no other way to put it. It's again, everyone does what they can because what are you gonna do? Like one of the guys said, it's better, is it really doing something? Probably not, because obviously when the rain comes and when the flood, it's that, the flood is that high, the water levels are so high. There's really not much you can do, but obviously it makes you feel better to at least try to have a water pump or to, I don't know, try to get the water out somehow. Are you going to be able to do it, to do it completely and to clear the water completely? Probably not. But again, it makes you feel better, like the guy said, because it's better than doing nothing. You're not going to stay there just watching your living room get flooded. No, of course, you have to do something. But it's awful. There's really, I think the worst part about this I think sort of the hopelessness, because you feel so, I can't do anything about this, which again, I think that's the worst part, because it's not about, it's not for a lack of trying. Obviously, people are being proactive. They want to do something. Again, most people, I think, not even most people, I think everyone, it's trying to do something. But I think it's impossible. I think because when the rain, it's raining that much, or when the water levels are rising up to levels that are just, it's just, again, you as a person and as a human, there's really not I can't do anything basically, and you're sort of, it's a losing battle. So I think it's that sort of, I feel very, I don't know, it's just hopeless about this, because there's really nothing I can do about this, even though I'm trying, which again, you're going to do what you can, but I think it's really bad, because that's the worst part, is you can't do anything about this. You're just at the mercy of nature, which again, it's a stark reminder that we are, as humans and as a society and as the world, we're still sort of beholden to the power of nature. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's crazy, because I think no matter how, I think, advanced society has gotten, and I think we, of course, we're the peak of human civilization. Well, for now, because obviously I think it's going to keep going, and of course we're going to keep upgrading our technology and, again, civilization, whatever. But still, we're still at the mercy of nature, which I think it's a really, again, sometimes I think it's easy for, I think, humans to be, we are sort of the masters of the universe. We've conquered so much. Look at all that we have achieved throughout another course of human history. But still, some things like this still can happen. Because again, we're still, even though we as humans, and again as a society, we're so powerful, there's still something more powerful than us, and it's nature. And I think we tend to forget about it, until sadly, I think we tend to forget about it, because we live with nature, and we are, we're living in it basically. So it's a thing about cohabiting, and we mostly, for the most part, you cohabit sort of peacefully with nature. However, sometimes something like this happens, and again, it's sort of a reminder of, hey, you know what? Yeah, sure, of course, we're at the mercy of this, and there's really not a lot we can do. I think this is really awful. I don't really know what kind of protective measures you can take, actually, because obviously you look at the weather, the weather report, and the weather, they're telling them, before the storm came through. Obviously, they were letting them know, hey, there's a storm warning, and I don't really know a lot about it, so I don't know what can you do besides, obviously, do not don't leave your house, not driving. I mean, yeah, don't go to work, don't take your kids to school, do not go to, I don't know, if you study, if you had errands to do not do any of that, because obviously the idea of driving under these conditions, I think it's insane. I'm with that guy. There was one guy that was, why are people driving? I'm with him. I really do not understand. I think it's just a really crazy. I don't know if you're feeling it. I know it's just because from the outside it looks so insane. As in, why are you driving? Have you look at you're literally passing through a river. I know it's gonna be so scary. And again, even if when you're driving, when things are like this, you don't really feel in control. Your car is just sort of, well, I don't know, the flow, the river is just, well, not the river, but again, just the water. It's sort of taking you, and okay, you're just, okay, whatever, the car is sort of driving itself, I think, because obviously the current, it's so high, so it's so big, I don't know, that it just kind of leads you, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to drive under those conditions. And it's just really, really scary, because imagine doing that, and it's not just with a little, I don't know, it's just, we already passed it. It was about 3 seconds of this giant flood. No, it's just, have you look at this? It's just a river. Basically, the river, it's in the road. So it's just kind of, oh my God, pull over. I don't know, get out of your car. It's insane to me. But the other things that I think, all the preventive measures you can take, I don't really know. I know they put sandbags, but I think, again, up to I don't know how many of them you would need for it to not pass the entrance of your house. I think they mentioned there were some of them. I mean, you try to do your best, but I don't really know what else you can do. It's, well, I put the sandbags. Do I have to pile them up higher? I guess, if I were living under those conditions, probably I would think, well, if it got flooded, because the worst part, I think, is just, some of these, they spoke about a very, like, a really big storm in 2014, but a few other cities, they had storms very recently, as in 2 months ago. So it is, so if last time my house got flooded, I'm thinking, well, do I have to pile the sandbags a little bit higher? I don't know. I'm trying to do, it's, well, trial and error. I guess that wasn't enough. I'll see if this time is enough. And I don't know what other things you can do. Just, I don't know, try to clear your furniture. I have no idea. Try to clear everything, everything that you can, do not leave. But it's just, well, most people do not have things sort of lying around on the floor. So I don't know what more things I could do. Move the table, move your couch. I don't know. It's just crazy. Have I don't know, crates and put them in crates, move your couch and put a crate on the bottom. I don't know. And still, if you have carpet, they mentioned someone had a carpet. That's gonna be a recipe for disaster. Carpets and water is just something that goes together like water and oil. They do not mix. It's a disaster. If you've ever been in that, just carpets and that type of carpet that just, it's just a carpet that I have in my entrance. No, sort of carpeted floors are just a complete disaster. When it gets flooded, it's just awful. And besides, I just started thinking, once you kind of get cleared, you get rid of all the water, the worst has passed and you have to do the cleanup. Still, and with the carpet, I think it's just a million times worse. The smell, I think a very particular smell. I think it's it smells humid. I think I can't, or maybe, I don't know. It smells a little musky. I don't know. It just smells a little weird. And then it's that smell, and then you have to get rid of that smell as well, because oh my god, you have to clear, because I think, like, of course, when it gets flooded, there's just, again, the water molecules or the particles are still sort of stuck around, so it is not completely, I think, dry. Especially, I would assume they live in very humid places as well, so that just is that tenfold. And it's, oh my god, I have to get rid of the smell as well, because everything's already dry, but still the smell remains. I don't know. It's just gonna be a disaster. The cleanup is gonna take weeks. It's gonna be such a hassle. And that's all obviously for normal residents. I'm glad to see there was one of the cities in which the city council was trying to help them, and they were, call them if you need any help. They'll try to help you in any way they can. Although I understand that they mentioned, and it is true, because sometimes, again, when it was just raining that hard, or when the flood is that big, there's really nothing we can do. And maybe you're thinking, but I'm a citizen, there's something else that maybe, the city council can make, the government can help me. But I think you need to be realistic, and there's just some things that you have to wait for this to pass. There's really nothing we can do about this. And I'm glad there was one of the cities as well that they had, I think was Somerset. They had one of those giant pumps, and they were trying to do what they can. They were working overtime. And again, everyone's trying to do their best, which I think is what you can expect in this kind of situations. Because again, it's really not about trying to avoid it, because it's impossible to avoid it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen either way. But what you can do, and what everyone can do and is doing and has done, which I think is the best we can hope for, is everyone tries their best. And that's really the most what are you going to do? Everyone's trying to do their best, and that's it. And that's how it should be. Community helping each other. You're trying to help your neighbors, you're trying to help yourself, the city council is there for you. And that's really all people can hope for, because really, again, there's not a lot of things you can do in situations like this. Although hopefully in the future, they'll try to fix this. Obviously the draining situation, that's really gotta be one of those things that in the future, maybe it will improve, I think. And obviously they know that's really, it's worsening the situation, because again, you can't avoid it. If this is worsening, maybe, in the future they can do something about this. And they do mention, and there are some of the, I think one of the water companies or something, they were mentioning, yes, we are trying to do something about this in order for this to not get at this level. Although again, there's only so much you can do under those conditions, because it's a hurricane. When hurricanes happen, or when tornadoes happen, there's only so much you can do. The thing's going to come anyway, so you just have to write it out, sadly, because again, we haven't invented a weather machine that takes care of things. So maybe in about 300 years or more, maybe we'll do it, and everyone will live very happily. That was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.